Hello everybody, it's MKWii and welcome back to another episode of Let's Make a MKWii Custom Track. Today, this is part 3 of the Cascade Kingdom series, where I'm trying to currently recreate the Cascade Kingdom. We'll get to making it, like, drivable later, I guess. The idea is now just to basically replicate the Cascade Kingdom. This episode we're going into texturing. So there's a grass texture. I actually did, it's not yet there. You can see on the right side I've already basically added it. But anyway, I found some textures from Mario Odyssey, which I am going to use in this custom track, of course. I received a comment in the last episode, like, why didn't you just get the model from Mario Odyssey and then just, like, work from there? Well, the thing is, that doesn't really exist, and I don't have, like, the mods and stuff to export the 3D model from the actual game itself. So yeah, I'm just working with a top-down map and from actually, you know, having the game in front of me, trying to recreate it. Anyway, I added the grass texture to the entire floor area. Now I'm gonna do this tree stump. I don't know what to call it. There it is. I found some realistic textures online. However, these might not be final, especially the rocks later on, and you'll see that the rock textures, the textures that I use for the rocks aren't very great. And I will probably redo them because I know they're pretty bad, but I didn't really find anything else at the time. Anyway. Here is the wood stump thing. I tried to find textures on textures.com that looked similar, except for the rocks that look similar to the ones that are available in the game. The rocks kind of, I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I'll get to them at some point, I guess. But here is the here's me texturing the I don't know what to call them, the roots things. And here's another thing that's a log. And this texture, like, I'd say it's actually very similar to the one in-game. However, the one in-game has some green moss on it that this one doesn't. And again, I could technically, like, add that later on as well, if necessary. There's the ends of the log thing. And then, actually, it's more like a tree trunk, I guess, because it's not. You actually have the bark around it, I think. Yeah. So there goes me texturing it. I had to look in game real quick right there. Sometimes you see me, like, not moving for a second, and that's probably me going into the game that's right in front of me that I don't have footage from because I didn't record that. And I probably won't record that because it's kind of unnecessary. Here's, like, me texturing the rocks, yeah, and I realized that the textures that I got weren't very great. I still did it anyway. It also took me a while to figure out what the best way of texturing this is in the UV map. So here's me fiddling for like 10 minutes. I don't know how long it would take in real life. The clock is too low res. I'm looking at this at like a low resolution preview. And my computer is still not super great at showing it because it's like 60 FPS sped up 4 times. Computer's having a difficult time handling this. Anyway, yeah, there's the texturing of the rock. It's not great, and I know it, and I will probably change this. But, you know, texturing this, like, texturing is not, like, the main part of this right now. I think the modeling is more important. However, I'm still texturing it, because that has to be done in the end. I realized I didn't remove the bottom of this rock, and the texturing was kind of weird because of that. And yeah, this rock, the big rock, uses a different texture that I found as well, but it just doesn't really work. If you guys have any, like, good texture, I don't know, if you somehow have a good rock texture that you think would be good, then let me know. Contact me on Discord. My Discord channel or Discord server is linked in the description if that's something you're interested in. Also follow me on Twitter, because anyone who's followed me on Twitter at MKWii has already received a preview of what's actually the next episode. Yeah, I did some working. There's another episode already recorded here. Here's me adding that. I'm thinking, because I also have a rock texture from the game, and I might use that one. It's not actually the texture that they're using on like the smaller rocks in the game, but I do have like the rock wall texture, and I might use this one. I actually was thinking about that. I might just use this because it looks more like the one in game, I guess, because it is an in-game texture from Mario Odyssey, and just it doesn't look very great. I started like applying a brownish tint over it because I realized it didn't look that great. Yeah. And here's me googling off screen how to actually refresh the textures in Blender, because for some reason I couldn't figure out how to do that. And there it is. Yeah, it doesn't look it looks very off. Well, I know that, and I'll probably get to fixing it later. Let's see what's next. I don't quite remember. This is the end of the first recording session of this episode, and here starts the next recording session. I realized that there were some rocks missing at the upper section. I never added any decoration to this upper platform section yet, so here I go now. Basically, going hand in hand with the actual game. As again, I've said this multiple times. I've got the game right in front of me while I'm doing this, and you're gonna see. I realized that the area marked as sand on the official map that's in the game as well doesn't line up with the actual sand area in the game. And we'll get to it later. The sand on the map is smaller than the area of sand that's actually there in the game, and I'll have to work on that later. Basically redoing that 3D geometry as we continue adding more blocks in this area. It might be around now that I realize I'm like running around in games like this doesn't make any sense. No, not yet. I don't actually remember. It's been a few days. Oh, instead we're actually gonna work on this. So in the game there are these like blocks of rock. I don't know. This is so generic, right? I'm sorry. I don't know what to call this. They're a lighter colored rock, and I don't think I have a texture for them yet. So instead, I'm just gonna leave them untextured for now. There's just some rocks sticking out, and they're breakable rocks in this case. I think the other ones are unbreakable, but these ones you could technically break, I think, by bringing the dinosaur over there. Or doing other stuff, I don't know. Here's me being bad at 3D modeling, and there it is. It basically just sticks out. And removing the bottom faces, because you gotta save those triangles. I think someone mentioned in the comments, like, I said like the Wii can't handle many faces, and I don't know how many I can use. Well, there's a limit, kind of. It depends on how much the game has to show on screen at once. I've heard that like around 40,000 faces, but again, it depends on where you are on the track and what direction the camera is looking at. Now I realize that, hey, wait a second. This area doesn't match up with the sand just doesn't match up with the one in game. So instead, I'm actually currently walking around with Mario trying to look where's the grass. There, as far as I know, there isn't really a good way of zooming the camera out. I mean, there is the camera mode in the game, but it doesn't. You can't really go out too like far enough. I want to see like an actual top-down view from in the game. I don't know how to do that properly. So. There it is. That's like a more accurate representation of the area of sand, according to me just playing in the game. Again, it's done by eye, so it's not like 100% accurate, but you know, it was better than the map had, because the map was completely off. I don't know what was up with that one. I guess they just thought the sand looked too big on the map and they might have shrunk it down or something. I don't know what Nintendo does, you know? Whatever. Anyway, there's more of these like breakable rock things, so I'll make those as well. Also, you could see like the texture. There was no texturing on the sand, so I have to do that as well. And I think that's what I'm about to do. Oh, I'm also simplifying, because again, you can remove triangles. So doing the cutting from an edge loop basically just adds a whole load of extra triangles that I really don't need. So instead I try to simplify as much as I can, so that, you know, the fewer triangles the better. There it is, the new sand patch. I think it looks decent, you know, apart from the small rocks that look terrible. And yeah, I think this episode's gonna end with me making 2 extra blocks here or something that exist in the game. Next episode's gonna be, I thought it was very exciting because I realized there was no Odyssey yet on this map, and you know, it's Mario Odyssey. We're gonna have to make the Odyssey, the ship thing. So look forward to that. Next episode we'll be working on the actual Odyssey flying ship thing. I had a lot of fun making that. It's not entirely finished at the time that I'm talking, but anyway, this is how it looks right now, and that's where we're gonna end this episode. Hope you're enjoying this process of creating a 3D world together with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.